Good evening, and Team Polkadot India welcomes you all to DotFriday, an evening that's going to be everything about DAOs. Now, Polkadot India is a pan-India community for Substrate developers, entrepreneurs, investors, students, and even simply blockchain or crypto enthusiasts. And at DotFriday, we bring to you conversations with global leaders to help you in your blockchain journeys. Before we start, a big shout out to all of our developer buddies who made it through Bootcamp 1. And we are back with Substrate Saturday Bootcamp 2, which is on the 22nd. That's tomorrow. So we'll definitely see you all there again. Now, developers wanting to learn Substrate and Rust from foundation levels and even learn to build their own projects over time, join us on our Discord channel by filling up the form as we are sharing in the link in the chat box. And you can also get a recap of what happened in Bootcamp 1 right away, right? And for those of you who live tweet during the event with a screenshot of the event or any way you like, saying that you are at polka.india.friday and tagging 3 of your non-follow friends, you can win surprise rewards too. Now, we regret to inform you that one of our guests tonight, Bedeho Mender, the founder of JoyStream, is COVID hit and won't be joining us. So let's all wish him a speedy recovery, and we'll sure have him around soon again. A note to our event winners from last Friday, your wins are on their way and you should have them very soon, hopefully by next week latest. And now it gives me great pleasure to call upon the magnetic founder of Polkadot India to kickstart this evening and introduce and welcome you all to the DAO chapter of DotFriday. Welcome, Amit. They're all yours.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ananya. And hello, everybody. So great to see 296 people at this hour taking time out to be to learn about Polkadot, to learn about Substrate, and in general what DAOs have to hold. So thank you one and all for being over here with us. It's a joy seeing you all every single time. Before I start, I would just love to get a sense of who all is here with us today. How many of you are coming over here for the first time? Could you just use the raise your hand on Zoom if you know how to do that, or just give a reaction. How many of you are first time participants? Okay, 90, 20, 25, 30, 40. Okay, a lot of hands up there. Great. Sure. So safe to assume that 50% of you won't raise your hand no matter what I ask, because it's just the format of the event. It's virtual, and I think a large majority of people over here are first timers. So thanks there for participating, guys. Really appreciate it. We started off with this whole idea of building Polkadot India with our own challenges. We were building a metaverse-centric protocol for interoperability, and we were building it on Substrate. We wanted it to be, workable across chains. And while building it, we realized that this is not an easy journey. It's particularly complex, and we could benefit a lot, from the experience of peers and seniors who've been there, done that. And given that Substrate is relatively young, Polkadot is also, relatively young platform. We guys inevitably end up becoming some of the people who are launching their first projects or building, from India on Polkadot and Substrate. So we should play that role of being the peers or seniors for the next generation who are building on Polkadot. So that's how we got started. And today, we've got a lot of active support from Parity and the Web3 Foundation, who's been backing some of our activities and encouraging us towards building this thriving community here in India. Now, the interesting thing about Polkadot and why people choose to build on Polkadot or similar interoperable platforms like say Cosmos using Tendermint is to achieve cross-chain interoperability. Usually when you're building on Ethereum, or any EVM compatible chains that are very, very popular, you literally need to be within the network and build everything from scratch, from native to that network. You can't do stuff like you would normally do while building a web application. You'll use APIs from third-party players for a variety of functionality. You would possibly be able to query other sources and get their data, show it over here in your project or tab. And that is the fundamental problem that Polkadot solves, though it provides a ton of other benefits as a blockchain for developers at large. So We look forward to building some brilliant projects from India, and as some of these projects mature, to rope in mentors and experts from across the world, also investors to fund Indian projects as and when you guys become ready with your projects. And without further ado, I would totally love to acknowledge our speakers who have taken time out on their Friday evening or afternoon, based on the time zone, to be with her here with us today. And I want to acknowledge each one of you for your curiosity and or for your sheer desire to go ahead, take the mantle in your hands, build something on Substrate, on Polkadot, for you. So cheers to all of you all over here. And we want to definitely thank our partners, Hack to Skill, as well as the Blockchain School, and Head Start, which have been helping us, guiding us, connect with you all. And we really look forward to building a 10,000 developer large community here from India, and alongside all of these developers, a bunch of entrepreneurs, maybe even aspiring entrepreneurs right now who will build a couple of years down the line, to come together, collaborate, and create some awesomeness. That's our entire team at Polkadot India. It is it takes a village to raise a baby. So Polkadot India is a small little baby right now, and those are like the chief people who are involved in making whatever we are doing over here success. So cheers to the team, Samkit and Saurabh from Hack to Scale and the Blockchain School specifically. Thanks for your contribution and support. I would hand it over back to Ananya right now so that we can dig to the meat and start learning about DAOs. Towards the end of the session today, we would love to interact with some of you guys. The format of the event right now, and due to some spam attacks in the past, we've kind of kept it restricted. But in the last 15-20 minutes, if we have the time, we would love to have some FaceTime with you all, learn about what you're doing right now, what challenges you're facing while building, or in general about address your queries about Polkadot or Substrate, if at all. So over to you, Ananya, and thank you. Welcome once again, all of you.
Thank you so much, Amit. This is actually headed a great direction with your vision in play. So wishing all of us luck together with everyone out here. Community is definitely growing. An announcement, guys. Here's a contest for you. Make a meme about you being here today at DotFriday and tag us with it again on Twitter. And top 3 memes are up for a win of $50 worth of DOT straight into your wallets. Now, the winners will be announced at the end of our bootcamp tomorrow. So make most of these 20+ hours and have some fun with it. So yeah, looking forward to some interesting memes out there from you guys. Now, a few of the most spoken about words that you might hear today are NFTs, Metaverse, DeFi, Web3, and DAO. So what is the fuss all about, and how is this the new big deal for a Web3 venture? So let's find out a lot about DAOs. Taking the floor right now is a name you couldn't have missed if you're a Web3 enthusiast who's active on Twitter, and especially with Twitter Spaces. Growth lead at Odyssey DAO, which is a learning DAO that creates quality and free Web3 education. Give it up for Bernardo Faro, or very lovingly known worldwide as Bernie. Bernie, it's an absolute honor having you with us here, and over to you for all you have to share with us and our community out here.
Hey, Ananya, and yo, how is everybody on the audience? Amit, also thank you for the introduction. You are awesome. You are a great man. And how is everybody here on the Polkadot India community ecosystem? So as Ananya was saying, I am a person, a creator. So over the past 3.5 years, and perhaps starting with a bit of context about me, over the past 3.5 years, I've been working at Deloitte. Okay, so for those who doesn't know Deloitte is one of the biggest consulting firms out there. Is a huge professional services company. It also exists in India, so I believe most of you, or at least some of you, may have heard. And over the past 3.5 years, I've been working at Deloitte, where I have been helping billion-dollar banks go through their digital transformation programs. So million-dollar transformation programs. They are trying to step into the game of becoming more technology-centric and how to do better things in terms of servicing their clients and all of that. Okay. And at the same time, this passion for blockchain, all things crypto, all of that, it started to emerge inside me like something like a fire, you know. So some of you may have been through the same journey as I. And so the first step was really to start to learn about crypto, and then what is the crypto world, the DeFi world, and all of that. But suddenly, over the past couple of years, from crypto, things started to happen and to grow. And nowadays we call it Web3 because it is the next stage of the internet. So here I am nowadays, and I'm currently leaving Deloitte to go full time into Web3. Okay, so before you all think that I'm crazy or something like that, let me just give you some context on what Web3 is, not because you don't know it already, but just on what is fascinating about Web3. And then let's jump into DAOs. Let's talk about my journey until the Web3 space. What have I been doing? What is Odyssey DAO? What is my scope as the growth lead at Odyssey DAO? What are some of our plans? And then perhaps let's make some questions, okay? So Ananya, let me know if I'm going well, if you are hearing me well, and if I can start here with all things that I have to share.
Absolutely, absolutely. Go for it. It's all good.
Okay. Perfect. So let's start. So first of all, Web3, and because I assume most of you may know already what Web3 is. So this idea of a decentralized internet. So after so many years, we know already the community-centric side of Web 1.0. So during the 90s, when Web was the new thing, the coolest thing on the market, we had a bunch of different communities. So a lot of different communities of people spread across the world, building things on top of the new thing, the internet. And it was mostly about reading stuff. Okay, so we had a website, and most of us, we were only able to read information. And that is the Web 1.0 first stage. And then the Web 2.0 raised as a new interactive way of providing data, having some sort of experience, and having this transaction in terms of services and value that was both created and shared with us as users from startups and tech companies. But the thing with Web 2.0, the real problem, is that Web 2.0 is mostly about subscription type of businesses on one side, or tools and SaaS, but on the other side, the biggest infrastructure that allowed us to grow is all fueled or pumped by advertisement. So nowadays, what we have seen is that our data has been shared as a product itself to the advertisement companies and industry, so they can make a profit from ourselves. And as you all know already, this raised a bunch of problems, a lot of problems, both on privacy issues, both on a lot of moral and ethical problems. So that wasn't the way of going forward. And suddenly in 2008, as we all know already, Satoshi came up with the Bitcoin, and beneath the Bitcoin, the blockchain, the decentralization power of the processing power, the ability of sharing information in a common ledger that we all know allow us to be all on the same page and share value. And the cool thing with blockchain is that it emerged with the power of Web 1.0 community-centric thing. So a lot of communities of people spread across the world coming up together to build new projects on top of blockchain. And at the same time, the scalability that the Web 2.0 infrastructure allowed us to reach, you know. So that's why, for example, nowadays Web3 is so fast. That's exactly the why. it is so fast because all the infrastructure, the ability to start adopting new products, it has been built. We have been building that infrastructure powered by communities and products and companies over the past 20 plus years. And so suddenly we have to come up with new ways of organizing these communities, aligning the incentives between these people who want to contribute into a certain project, and at the same time make sure that we all make some profit out of it. Because yes, we all have to pay for our time, to our bills, and have some sort of career and find what is our passion in terms of contribution. So the cool thing here is that we came up with the DAO. Okay, and DAO is the centralized autonomous organizations. Okay, and it has a bunch of cool things that I really want to break it down to you. So the first one is the decentralization part of a DAO. Okay, so a DAO is an organization where its bylaws and the way of working is written on smart contracts. And as smart contracts are on blockchain, that means that a DAO is decentralized since its first day. Okay. But what does it mean being autonomous? So an organization that is autonomous is an organization that doesn't need, for example, offices to run. It can vote, for example, for different proposals and things on what to do in terms of next steps, roadmap, vision, how to come up with all of that together in a way that an organization which is already decentralized can be autonomous. And that's where smart contracts get in. Okay, so they are powering all these DAOs because every DAO lives with a community, and that community can have some tokens. And with those tokens, they can then make part of the governance of the DAO. So they can, for example, vote on different proposals. So let's see an example. Let's see that Facebook or Twitter or even Google, if they were a DAO, how would that work? Okay, so nowadays what we know is that there's a core team of founders, the C-levels, the executives, who have all the vision, they take most of the decisions, and they move forward on what is their vision and roadmap and what they want to accomplish, okay? But if it was a DAO, what would happen is, for example, the core team, the executive team, the founders would ask the community in terms of A and B, what is the type of the next step that people want to take in order to accomplish the vision and the mission of the company, okay? And instead of everything being decided in closed doors with 5 or 6 people, now communities can vote on the vision of the company. And as every DAO has a token, what it happens also is that by contributing, you also can get some of those tokens. And so if the token raises in value, increases in value, that means that over time, you not only have the power to influence the vision and roadmap of your DAO organization, okay, but also you can make a profit from being involved, like almost having shares of the equity of a company since day one, okay? And what if we could have more shares of every company that we work for in a way that we are aligned with the success, the long-term success of that organization? Okay, so these are DAOs. And the question now that I want to go for it is, how am I going, or how my journey at Deloitte took me into Web3, and why am I leaving Deloitte after 3.5 years with an entire career ahead of me just to jump into Web3? How crazy am I, or how big of an opportunity this is, okay? So on the crazy part, and let's start there because that's the easiest way to start things. Perhaps I'm a bit crazy, okay? So when we read a lot of media, we only can read about Web3 being a scam or Web3 being the future. And it's very hard for us to come up with an objective argument or rationale that allow us to take a decision on if Web3 is the future or if the Web3 is a scam. Okay. And we have to start breaking down a lot of things. So we know already that Bitcoin has the mission to become the gold standard. We know that platforms like Ethereum, Polkadot, Solana, and many other projects, beneath their tokens, we see a lot of developers and communities providing their intelligence, people extremely smart, working hard to provide value. So what we can also see is that the increase in price of a certain token is also the increase in value of that project. Okay, so if we take all the media noise from the equation, what we can see is that actually Web3 has a lot of value, a lot of people very smart, working very hard to come up with a lot of solutions. But also we can state that, hey, okay, Bernie, but there are a lot of scams. And yes, unfortunately, there are still a lot of scams, but there are already a lot of scams on Web2. And even on our current days, on our day-to-day life, there are a lot of scams. So yes, we have to be cautious, okay, about also a lot of projects on Web3. And another thing that I really want to go into is, okay, so if I'm not crazy and if I understand the value that a lot of teams are trying to build on top of what is a decentralized internet, the Web3 kind of way and vision and future, so why am I going from Deloitte to becoming completely unemployed? Come up with my own project, which is a project that I'm currently building on top of blockchain and whatever for content creators, and we can discuss that later. But why am I doing that? And why should you also think about that if you want to pursue Web3? Okay, so the first thing is that from now on, I don't need to necessarily apply to different companies and go through the visa process and all that boring stuff. I can simply apply to a DAO and start working immediately like a freelance, but with also no friction on the onboarding side, okay? And as everything can be paid with Bitcoin and other coins, that means that I have no problems regarding visa and being an employee on another country and all of that. So suddenly I'm leaving Deloitte, Portugal to go into an ecosystem of jobs worldwide, okay? But also because I truly believe in what we are trying to achieve in terms of a technology, okay? And I believe it so much that I got involved with a lot of people, so a couple of people that I've met on the internet to come up with, for example, Odyssey DAO, okay? And why? Because we believe that actually Web3 is missing a very important piece. And the piece that Web3 currently is missing is education. Because most people, there is so much noise on the internet right now. If you start searching on Google or any other web search browser, you will find a lot of noise regarding Web3. And that's why we have come up with Odyssey DAO. Okay, so this is the type of project that I truly believe. And what is Odyssey DAO? Once again, so Odyssey DAO started with Peter Yang. Peter Yang has been writing for the creator economy for years. He's a product lead at Reddit, and he came up with the idea of, hey, let's try to build a website where we can come up with a lot of content to help people on board to Web3, okay? So our mission is to reach 1 million people and help 1 million people transitioning to Web3. And not necessarily just because they learn and go through our paths, but mostly because they can land a job. So that's the type of gap, that's the type of chasm that we are trying to cross, okay? Is to help people through education to better understand about Web3 as good or as easy as possible so they can get a job into a Web3 startup or a Web3 company, Web3 protocol, Web3 whatever. Okay, so this is the mission behind Odyssey DAO. And Odyssey DAO started already exactly with the premise that it is built for Web3 in a Web3 way. So a bunch of people spread across the world, working together, being paid with tokens, contributing as much as possible to accomplish a certain mission. And for example, that's why me, the growth lead at Odyssey DAO, my mission on the Odyssey DAO scope or overall mission is to come up with a solid plan of spreading the word. Okay, so coming up with a growth plan that allow us to, over the next couple of months, to reach as many people as possible with our content, and then bring those people into our website so they can start learning, can start go through our paths of knowledge, and then land a job. Okay, so in terms of my own thing as growth lead at Odyssey DAO, my job, let's call it that way, that's part of the mission that I have, is to grow Odyssey DAO in terms of adoption, in terms of more people coming to our website, having more people subscribing our newsletter, having more people reading and learning from our content, the content that we produce. And in terms of next steps, the type of plan that we are trying to sketch here, to draw on here, is, for example, how to start a LinkedIn account for Odyssey DAO. What are some of the languages that we have to translate our content into so we can reach more people? So many things that currently I have to think through on how to grow Odyssey DAO so we can accomplish our mission of bringing 1 million people into Web3. Okay, so this is part of my journey, who I am, what I have been doing, and also a bit of what is Odyssey DAO. Okay, also what is my job and role as growth lead. So Ananya, let me know if I have any more time to perhaps make a deep dive into some of these topics, or if this is the moment where I shut up and pass the ball to the next.
Sure, Bernie, you can totally go on. You have easily about 15 to 20 minutes more before we start the Q&A. So
Okay. So the thing that I wanted to discuss a little more in depth here with you is, for example, so if you want to learn more about Web3, where should you start? If you want to join a DAO, how to make it? Okay, how to actually make it happen, because the journey is not necessarily easy for those who start on any website browser. Okay, so if you go Google it or whatever, or if you even jump on YouTube or any other platform that you use to learn about something, usually it's not necessarily easy in terms of Web3. Okay, if you jump into YouTube, for example, you will see a bunch of creators on the financial spectrum of Web3 trying to sell you a new coin, a new journey, a new thing, a new project, a new something. But if you just want to learn, it's not necessarily easy. So how to do it? Okay, and this is something that I think is important in terms of a journey. Okay, so if you decided you want to learn, start learning at least about what is Web3, the first step that I would tell you to do or to give is, please come to Twitter. Okay, come to Twitter, because it may seem completely absurd, but for those of you who may not know Twitter, for example, I have a Twitter account for perhaps 10 years, but I've never used it before until the past September. So I don't know how many of you are exactly on the same place that I was, but this is why you should come to Twitter. Okay, so a lot of things happen on the Twitter community. And why Twitter? Because you have two sides of Twitter. You have the side where 98% of people are, which is about news and sports and politics and a lot of noise. And there is the other side. The other side of Twitter is where 1 or 2% are, and those 1 or 2% are founders of startups, CEOs, CTOs, a lot of builders, a lot of makers, a lot of people creating stuff. Okay, and that's exactly where a lot of people from the Web3 community and NFT community and from DAOs, where they are. Okay, even Twitter nowadays, for example, it was the first social network to introduce a way of being able to monetize your content and profile through, for example, Bitcoins. And for example, even now, I think yesterday, they rolled out a new feature that allow you to use your profile picture NFT as your profile picture, okay, just by connecting your wallet. So as you can see, Twitter is making as much as possible, just like Reddit also. So Reddit is another way, another place where you can learn a lot about Web3 and DAOs and NFTs. But the thing about Twitter is that Twitter is much more organic in terms of finding new people to follow, finding new profiles, new accounts, new projects, new NFTs, new DAOs to join. Okay, so the first step, if you want to start learning about Web3, is come to Twitter, make your account if you have not one, or start creating content or engaging with people who, for example, the Polkadot India community on Twitter is huge, okay? As it is, for example, also the Polkadot profile account just, you know? So you should come to Twitter, start following a couple of accounts, start clicking on their links, and you'll start finding a lot of things. And those things that most of the times you will start learning about or finding are Discord servers. Okay, so Discord, which was until perhaps 1 year ago or 1.5 years ago, the go-to place to be a chat, or it was mainly the chat for the gaming community, the gaming industry. Nowadays, it is the go-to place to find DAOs or to join DAOs, join NFT projects, join other Web3 projects, okay? So most of the things happening currently on Web3 space are on Twitter on one side and on Discord anytime you want to join a DAO or an NFT, okay? And how to find it, okay? So how to find something or someone that you should follow at first on Twitter. The moment you get there, you can just go to the search bar and search by DAO, and you will immediately after that start finding a couple of different accounts which are exactly DAOs, okay? And the first step that you should do before even following them is just get into their profile account, click on some of their links, go to their websites and start learning about, okay, what is this DAO about? What are they trying to do? Okay, so for example, a project from the Polkadot ecosystem that I have been reading about is Mantra DAO. Okay, and until a couple of weeks ago, I didn't know Mantra DAO, okay, because there are so many different projects that I can't just keep up with everything every single day. And the thing is, the first thing, just as usual, if I go into Google and search for Mantra DAO, whatever, yes, perhaps nowadays, because they have already a bunch of content, it will become easier to find them. But at first, I can almost make a bet that it was very hard to find news about them in terms of project, okay? So the moment you start following Mantra DAO, you'll start getting some of their content and you will start noticing a lot of people engaging with Mantra DAO. Now, the next step is go into those people who are now engaging with Mantra DAO and start to understand what are they doing, okay? And you'll start noticing a lot of bios, very weird, like NFT collector. What the hell is that, okay? An NFT collector, for example, is the type of person who loves to collect different NFTs. Most of the time, they are people with perhaps some money who love to invest in NFTs, in NFT projects by buying NFTs, okay? And then you will see, like, I'm into Web3, for example, Luna, okay? You may find in the bio of someone the Luna sign, and that means that that person is into the Luna ecosystem, a DeFi ecosystem built on top of Terra, okay? So suddenly you'll start noticing a lot of little attributes and traits of every one of these Twitter profiles, and you'll start following the right people, and you will start going through what we call the Web3 rabbit hole, okay? But there are other places where you can find content about DAOs and DAOs to join, okay? One of those is, for example, if you come to the Odyssey DAO account or website page, you will see there a lot of different things and DAOs and other projects that we also suggest to you, so you can enroll, apply, start working with them, and then you will see what you can come up with, okay? So let me know if you have any question. I know we will allow every one of you to make questions, or at least we will have here sometime a Q&A session. So feel free to DM me even on Twitter if you want me. If you want to, you can find me also on Discord. So feel free to find me, to ask me whatever question you may have about how to join a DAO, how to start contributing to a DAO. And hey, by the way, I'm building a DAO myself with a co-founder of mine and a couple of friends too, and people once again spread across the globe. It will be a DAO to support people who want to become content creators, both full-time content creators and part-time content creators, and to give them the right community for them to find like-minded people who are going through the same journey. Okay, so if you are a content creator, if you are on the audience and really want to start contributing to a DAO, all of this is still very early. We are coming up with everything, the concept, what we want to do with the DAO and all of that. So if you really want to be at the moment of the birth and the starting point of a DAO, this is the good moment for you to join, okay? So yeah, once again, feel free. And perhaps, Ananya, I pass the mic to you, or isn't this the moment? Sorry.
Yes, Bernie, I guess then, yeah, we have a long evening to go still. We'll be interacting some more with you a little later. But we have a couple of questions for you from the people out here. So let me just read it out to you, and probably you can take it from there.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. The first one being, will DAOs be subject to taxation?
Taxes. Okay.
Yes, taxes.
So let me give you a bit of inside information, okay? So as we know, we have what we call the curve of innovation, okay? So the curve of innovation is a distribution curve for those of you who know statistics. And where I think we are currently is on the innovators and early adopters, okay? So the innovators are the people who over the past couple of years have been developing all the ecosystem that we have nowadays, okay? And the early adopters are people who, just like me and a bunch of you, are willing to commit the time and effort to start doing something with this type of infrastructure and initial projects that over the past couple of years have come to life, okay? And this is where I think we are. But both regarding crypto and regarding, for example, tokens, regarding different protocols, even regarding DeFi, I think all the Web3 space is still on the early adoption phase. Okay, that means that if you can remember the diffusion curve of innovation, you will find that the early adopters and innovators are just like 2 to 5%, I think so, if I'm not mistaken here. So that means that like 95% of people around the world, they have no idea or any clue of what crypto is, or really is, or what blockchain can actually help them. Okay, and crossing this chasm from early adopters to what we call the early majority is the next step that I foresee. The only way to do it is through regulation and obviously taxation, okay? And why? Because nowadays, thanks to DeFi, we have suddenly the opportunity to, for example, lend money. So lend money to someone who we don't know, perhaps in the other side of the globe, and just to lend them some money for them to make something, okay? Yeah, here we are. So I think we are perhaps nowadays at the middle of the early adopters, okay? We have the innovators, the early adopters, and then the early majority. Crossing the chasm is going from the early adopters to the early majority, okay? And the chasm, because most of the projects out there, they die until getting to the early majority, okay? So, as I was telling you, when when lending money from peer to peer in a decentralized manner becomes mainstream, something will need to happen to make sure that on one side, the lender doesn't lose its money, but on the other side, the rates that we practice, the money that is used by the end user is in some way accountable, okay? So big companies like Deloitte and others, and the European Union, so the institutions, they are currently working on legal frameworks on one side on how to make DAOs a legal organization, because most of the times you will see that DAOs nowadays, they have to be a foundation. The problem is that a foundation cannot make profit, so they always have to come up with a C Corp, a centralized version of a company, and come up with a DAO, and then the C Corp controls the DAO and back and forth. So we still need a legal framework so DAOs can become the new way of organizing a community or a company, okay, with a for-profit purpose. There are already some places like Wyoming in the States and some countries making some things there, but there's no legal framework that the world can recognize, okay? On the other side is all the regulatory framework where, for example, taxes come in, because the banks, the institutional banks that we know, they are paying taxes, okay? On any type of investment they make, they pay taxes on that. But if suddenly billions of dollars start being lended through peer-to-peer on a decentralized manner, where everything is published and open source, but at the same time, just by using an address wallet, I can be completely anonymous. That means that a lot of countries are losing billions of dollars because these billions of dollars are going into DeFi. Okay. So yes, if we want our countries to keep existing as they have and to keep working, no matter the type of policy or type of politics that you believe, we need to come up with both a legal framework, a regulatory framework to protect people, and also the tax framework, okay? And big companies and big institutions, as I told you, they are currently working exactly on that, okay? And I believe during 2022 and 2023, we will see a bunch of new things in terms of these legal, regulatory, and tax frameworks come to life, okay?
Could I add a little to your answer there, Tony?
Of course, also, always, always.
So this is more from the perspective of India and Indians. So DAO themselves are decentralized organizations. People could be from all over. So the organization by itself can't be taxed as of today, while the
exactly
might get created. But the individuals who are making money from the DAO, they will all at some point in time liquidate their crypto and convert it into fiat. At that point of conversion, you will have to pay income tax on that money. So in India as well, when suppose you've traded via an exchange and you've earned profit on it and you are converting it back into Indian rupees, depending upon whether it's a short-term trade or it's a long-term investment which you are liquidating, you will have to pay the corresponding capital gains tax or other income tax on that amount.
Yeah. The only problem with what Amit said, and very well, the only problem is that we know that we have individual taxes, so taxes that we as individuals pay both on our salaries and what we call the profits from our investments. And we should have a corporate tax, okay? And when I talk about coming up with the legal frameworks and tax and regulatory, is much more about the corporate type of tax, okay? Where DAOs, where startups nowadays are, they pay corporate taxes, and where nowadays DAOs don't pay, okay? And yeah, so that's exactly that, Amit. And thank you very much. Ananya, back to you.
Yeah, I was thinking about the next question, which is very similar, in fact. So this is by Prashant, he says that what are the best practices now for DAOs? Like now that we know that there is no legal framework, right? We need it, but right now, if a DAO has to frame their legalities out to the world, how would they do that? Or how would they maintain that consistent, legally compliant relationship with individuals as well as partnerships or any organization that they're associated with?
Exactly. Okay, let's break it down once again as easy as possible. So DAOs live from smart contracts or on top of smart contracts, okay? And the DAO, a smart contract is just a contract, but in code, okay? So if individual A works at least for T equal time, so 60 days, let's assume, then he becomes an employee of the company. He gets paid X amount per hour, assuming that he works full time. That's Y hours. So this is the type of salary that that individual will get. Okay. So this is, for example, a type of contract that can be used to regulate in terms the relationship between a DAO and an individual or a contributor, as we call them. Okay. Another thing is, for example, and this is perhaps nowadays the biggest concern and biggest challenge in terms of DAOs, is governance. Okay. And by governance, what I mean is, what is the right balance for us to have the centralization on one side and at the other side, the typical stubbornness and determination, resilience from a founding team, okay? So if a founding team has to put everything under review and vote from the community, first, they won't be able to ship things as fast as usual. So a startup won't be a startup, but instead a corporate company. And they won't be able to move forward even when they disagree with the community. Okay, so this is perhaps nowadays the biggest challenge of most DAOs, is how to find a balance between what a community should be say about the vision and the roadmap, and what is the vision of the founding team and the core team in terms of where they want to take the thing. Okay. Another thing in terms of regulation and all of that is, once again, so you can find, for example, for those of you who want to Google it, you can Google it something like ENS domains. Okay. The ENS domains is basically the DNS domains that we have nowadays for the internet, but built for Ethereum. Okay. So anytime you go on Twitter and see like Bernie.eth, that's my ENS domain. Okay. That I don't have an ENS domain yet, but yeah, that's the case. And the thing, once again, is, if you Google for ENS, you will see their constitution, their legalese, who is perhaps the person or the legal entity responsible for all the things that they are trying to do. And that's more or less the way on how nowadays DAOs can interact with people and people with DAOs. Okay. But there are a lot of problems, and problems really easy to quickly understand, like how to come up with an health insurance for my employees if they are a mix of a part-time freelancer or a full-time person working for this legal entity. So yeah, there is still a lot of gray space. And when I talk about health insurance, because that's an easy way to solve things, but there are so many other types of things that nowadays we are still figuring it out. Okay. So yeah, mostly this. I mean, I don't know if you want to say anything else, if you want to add something.
It makes absolute sense. That's a clear version of judging the legalities of the project. But okay, moving on to the next one by Tushar. So this is, how does one create their own DAO network on Dot? That's the Polkadot ecosystem. What's it?
Sorry, Ananya, can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yeah. How does one go about building their DAO project on the Polkadot ecosystem?
Okay, so in terms of Polkadot ecosystem and building on top of Polkadot ecosystem, perhaps Amit is a best person or more well suited to answer. But my guess, just because I don't know the technicalities in terms of the Polkadot ecosystem, but my guess is most of the times, so a DAO is just a bunch of people doing something together. Okay. So what you will need to raise money, okay, let's assume to pay the bills for the person and the people. You will need, for example, not for example, you will need a treasury. Okay. And the treasury is like the place where you keep the DAO's money. Okay. So that treasury, it should be a multi-sign treasury. Okay. So a multi-sign treasury means that you can't move the money without multiple signatures. Okay, so that's already something that the decentralized autonomous organizations, DAOs, have come up with in terms of making sure that nobody steals the money, is that you need different people to manage the money. Okay. And so at least these are the core things. Is you need a community. That community needs to live somewhere. It can be on Discord, it can be on Facebook groups, whatever. And then you have to raise some money to operate and have a treasury with a multi-sig. Okay, so these are the three stages. But in terms of technicalities on the Polkadot ecosystem, perhaps I can pass the mic to Amit, and Anya.
Yeah.
Sure. So I think Bernie covered it all over there. It's about first assembling your team. Once you've built your team, you would have to establish a protocol via which you want to solicit participation and how you want to engage the community in the decision making.
Yeah.
So usually people do an ICO. So you've built a core team, you have an idea, you've built some early traction, you've demonstrated a product. You would go to the community and say that, hey guys, we need some funds to continue this development ahead. You would issue them all tokens in lieu of money, an ICO or a crowd sale that you have done. Now they all are token holders. And in some way you can think of, call these people voters into your project. Thereafter, you can create your own Discord group, and involve them in various kind of decision making. However, it can become fairly refined, and you can take decisions and put these decisions directly on record it on a blockchain itself. So how Polkadot does it is, they have something called Polka Assembly, where different kind of proposals are posted by people and they can have discussions on it. It's a centralized system. It's not a fully decentralized system, but you can have elaborate articles with images and different roadmaps over there. Then you can actually state some Polkadot and pass request an allocation. For example, let's say you want, so part of Polkadot, the entire fund of Polkadot, part of it is kept for community development. And suppose you want to, you're doing some activity to do with community and you want to get a piece of this fund, you will create a proposal and stake a little bit of your Polkadot or DOT tokens, and publish it on chain. Small little amount of text, link it to the detailed text and proposal that is there on Polka Assembly. There will be people who have nominated themselves to be council members. These are the people who will be taking a decision on every proposal that is being submitted. Why do you have to put money or your stake your own dot? So that garbage proposals are not submitted by people. Only once there's enough skin in the game will people be mindful of what they're submitting. So I come over here, or Polkadot India, puts in like stakes about 100 dots, and they create this proposal, they submit it. The council members review that proposal. If they have questions, they will ask those questions directly. And within a stipulated time frame, we guys have to revert. If they are satisfied, there are 13 council members right now in the Polkadot treasury. And if 8 of them agree and they vote in favor of the proposal, this proposal is passed and it becomes a motion. And whatever requests you had made for the grant, it'll effectively come over to you. So and how these 13 people in the council are elected, all the dot holders, which is like you, me, everybody else, they would get to vote on. So there would be about 30, 50 odd people who would have said, I want to become a council member, because council members for providing this service, even they make an income. The community members say, okay, fine, I want to vote for them, and how much ever dot I hold becomes, the relative weight of, the vote that is going to, the person in charge. Now, if we have time, I could actually show how this whole thing works. Otherwise, we could just move on to the next question.
Sure. Thanks, Amit. I think that was pretty comprehensive. Thanks. We'll probably have another session with Amit sometime exclusively too, to go deep dive into this. But Bernie, I think we'll take one last question. So this is by Muhammad Faisal. He says, can I know about voting rights in a DAO, which is something what Amit just explained. And if the number of votes is tied to ownership of token, if I own 20% and you own 2%, how are voting rights distributed?
Okay. So that's not necessarily a question of DAOs, but mostly a question of statutes and governance, really. So yes, so let's assume that you have 100 tokens, okay? And all of these 100 tokens have voting rights. One token, one voting right. So if you have 20% and nobody else has more than 20%, then you will be the majority voter on whatever thing that you make as a proposal or voting moment, okay? And then you will have different people. So if you have 20, there are still 80%. And those people, they can vote according to what you have voted, or they can just vote in any other thing, for example, in opposition to what you said, okay? So I may say, for example, that I want to build a credit card on top of this DeFi protocol, and that should be the next product for our community. But people, the other 80%, for example, they may not see it as the next step. They perhaps don't like credit cards, so they are not they do not trust, or they don't want to go into building that. So they will have to vote against me on that proposal, okay? So yeah, rights is just a matter of governance, and not every DAO issues one token per one vote. And even with tokens, that doesn't mean that you have, for example, voting power in every single proposal. Okay, for example, there are DAOs who say that if you have less than 5 tokens or 5% of tokens, let's assume, if you have less than 5 tokens, you can only vote on these types of proposals. If you have 5 to 20, then you can vote on these type of proposals. If you have more than 20, then you can vote on these type of proposals, okay? Making the DAO less flat and more hierarchical, but at the same time, making sure that everybody can be involved in what they are trying to do and achieve together, but not making the voting moment a problem in terms of pursuing things, pursuing goals, and achieving those goals. Okay. And Anya, yeah.
That makes absolute sense, Bernie. Thank you so much, Bernie. So this was a great start to the evening, and we hope to talk a lot more with you very shortly. And guys, we have an open mic coming up very soon with Bernie right after our very next guest tonight. So stick around, because you really can't miss it. Thanks again, Bernie. This was great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, now, guys, we have pinned a tweet on our Twitter account about Substrate Saturday, the second bootcamp tomorrow. Follow if you haven't already, and retweet. And we have a lucky draw for 3 of you for a unique and exclusive giveaway. Yeah, and also a reminder, we are seeing some great memes come by, and they are really funny. So yeah, make a meme about you being here today. Tag us with it by about 3 p.m. tomorrow. And top 3 memes are up for a win of about $50 worth of DOT straight into your wallets, right? As for today, we have yet another series of questions that we'll be shooting at you and through the evening. So the top 3 answers of each round win again a special Polkadot India gift box. Now, don't think that all of these, giveaways are going to be the same thing. Everything's uniquely designed for each of the activities. So let's start right away, and where the top 3 winners take home the gift box. So to answer, firstly, follow us on Twitter if you haven't already again. Post your answer, tagging us at Polkadot India and cross your fingers. So here goes the first question. So that's which DAO is launched on Polkadot blockchain? That's A, Olympus DAO, B, Sub DAO, C, Developer DAO, and D, Moonrabbit. Right? On Twitter, tag us and all the best. Let's just do another round. Can you share the screen with the question? Yeah. So guys, question number 2 up for really crazy Polkadot merchandise up for grabs. When was the first DAO launched? 2015 June, May 2017, June 2016, or April 2016? So this is a Twitter activity. So follow us or if you haven't already, and tweet your answers, tagging us, and we'll let you know if you won. Right? So this was your second question for this evening. Guys, firstly, we have a mission to educate everyone while we are learning ourselves, right? So we are starting a What the Heck series. This is because so many of us want to start right from scratch, want to know things right from the beginning, from foundation levels, since a new world out there. So we are starting something called What the Heck series. So be it what the heck is blockchain, or what the heck is NFT, what the heck is metaverse. So this is a series we are starting on Twitter soon. So follow us, because let's all learn together. It's as simple as that. And the Indian community is very well known for its developer strength. Meanwhile, if we keep educating ourselves, I think it's a big win. So just support us with this. And even if you ever want to know about something specific, or want us to cover something specific in the Twitter zone of the What the Heck series, just DM us, or just tag us on Twitter too, and we'll just get that going. So yeah, that's something about What the Heck series. Also for our developer buddies, we are having this bootcamp, of course, but for those of you who are new to it, we have a Discord channel. We'll be sharing a form with you over the evening in the chat box. So do fill in if you're interested, because we are planning a training program that's already begun, and there will be obviously versions to this. So yeah, do join in and it will be great. Let's just keep it going. Now moving on. Basically, OpenSquare Network is a collaboration network and DAO for users to manage profiles with their keys, with an on-chain data system aggregated for the users, and a credit model built based on on-chain collaboration data again. Right? Let's learn how this DAO was built from the founder himself, Yongfeng Li, before you build your own. And it's a pleasure having you with us, and very excited to hear all you have to share with our community.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Welcome, Yongfeng.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Thank you. I'm very happy here, and I'm sorry that my English is really very bad. So forgive me if I cannot understand you, or you cannot understand me. So you can type something in the chat box and ask me questions. But first, I will share my slides to introduce what is OpenSquare. I will talk about what is OpenSquare and what we do in Polkadot ecosystem. What we do is mainly about collaborations. Yeah. So what is collaboration? For a very simple example, you are a job founder, and there's a job hunter. So the founder assign a job to the hunter, and the hunter finish job, submit to the hunter, and they give remarks to each other. This is a most simple collaboration, right? So in Web2 world, this is all happen in the website, and all data are stored in the central server. Yeah, in Web3, our vision is to store this kind of data into blockchain, and the personal credit can be built based on this data. So finally, we can build a collaboration network. The nodes can be a person or can be an enterprise. What's the difference? The difference is their profile can be verified by the history behaviors. Yeah. So, for example, in history, you submit a job, and the founder give you a five-star remark, and it will be stored on blockchain. So in the profile, for example, in your profile, you said you are very good at Java. So, and in the history collaboration, your job is done with Java. So the information in your profile can be verified by this history collaboration. Yeah, this is this collaboration network will be more trusted compared to the that one in Web2 world. For example, the LinkedIn, yeah, Facebook, like that. Yeah, this is what OpenSquare mainly do. Next is why Polkadot. Yeah, Polkadot is different from Bitcoin and Ethereum. As Dr. Gavenwood said, Polkadot is a layer 0 protocol. It means many different chains can be built on top of Polkadot. Yeah. So currently, we can see Moonriver run on Kusama, Moonbeam run on Polkadot. So you can see it as a Ethereum run on Polkadot. Yeah, and there are other parachains like Akala, Karura, Fala, like etc, like others. Yeah. So they are all different kinds of business, different kinds of chains. So they are layer 1, and Polkadot and Kusama is layer 0. This is one reason. It provides many flexibility for development. Yeah, so that means you can customize your business with a layer 1 parachain. Yeah, another reason is the governance in Polkadot is very advanced compared to, for example, Ethereum. Yeah, the governance includes the treasury management. Currently, the treasury contains the treasury is managed by council, but it's customizable. For example, it can be customized as it can be decided by democracy, like this. And another feature is forkless runtime upgrade. Yeah, you can we can see that Bitcoin once been forked. Ethereum, even Ethereum are forked. You know ETC and Ethereum, but in Polkadot is different. If you want to change the chain logic, what we need is update runtime and update it to take place the current one with the democracy. Yeah, everyone can vote to decide whether or not to take place the older runtime with the new one. So we can see this is very robust. The third reason is ecosystem projects can get money support from the Web3 Foundation grants and treasury. Maybe you know one of our products is DotTreasury.com. Yeah, you can see the treasury status in our product. You can see how many dots and kusamas in the treasury. Actually, there's much money. Yeah, you can apply some. Try to apply some. I know Polkadot India gets some support from the treasury support. OpenSquare also get about six treasure spot and two grand spot. Feel free to apply. The person managing them is very nice. The fourth reason is OpenSquare itself. We have been focusing on Polkadot stack for our series, so we have some experience and advantage in Polkadot ecosystem. This is our roadmap. For the first step, we develop some common goods for Polkadot in Polkadot ecosystem and provide some service for ecosystem products. Yeah, these products are mainly to provide service to the products. Our role in this ecosystem is like an agent between products and builders. Yeah, so the first step is nearly closed. In next year, we will mainly do the step two job. It's mainly to the normal users. There are mainly two products. One is the paid QA product, another is bounties product. Yes, with paid QA, if you have some kind of knowledge, you can earn crypto with this knowledge by answer someone's topics or questions. The third step is user profile management. With these collaborations on chain, we will build the users' profiles and we'll aggregate some user info to verify the items in user's profile. Yeah, this is our released products. Yeah. These products are, as said in this step, our products only mainly have two cancel products. First is Explorer. DotFriday, as I said, is a treasure explorer. In this product, you can view how the treasure is managed and how much money in it, and how the money is spent, where the money is come from. Yeah. Another product, Syscan, is another explorer for cement and cement. It now supports fungible assets and NFTs. Yeah. Another kind of product is for governance. Off-chain voting is also common goods, but it's for governance, not for explorers. Current portal ecosystem have on-chain voting, yeah, but it will cost the users gas fees. Usually, community members are not willing to vote on it. So, off-chain voting is a supplement for the on-chain governance. Users can feel free to vote on the proposals. Yeah, it's gas free, so it's not so serious. It will be used for some posts, for example. So it's very lightweight. Yeah. Substrate is or another product. It's like maybe you know Poke Assembly. It's more like like a Poke Assembly. Currently, we have integrated Karura, Akala, Fala, Bifrost, and others. Okay, this is our released products. Currently, they are online, so you can try them. So these products are our developing products. Yeah. The theme is collaboration. So paid question, bounted QA. Yeah. It's people can ask question, but this behavior will not lock their money. This protocol is more like a remark. You will, how to say, broadcast that you will found, for example, one customer for a question, and then send this message to the blockchain, and we will track it, show the question on our site, and others can answer them. Yeah, answer them, and finally they can earn the crypto, earn the one customer. Bounties is another product we are building. So anyone can create a bounty with Karma and Dot and other tokens in Polkadot ecosystem. You can imagine it as Gitcoin in Polkadot ecosystem. Yeah. So we introduce the collaboration, and I will show why we made this collaboration decentralized. And how it works. So this is the main process. First, someone starts the collaboration. For example, create a bounty or create a question, and this behavior will start on one block. And the next, someone, for example, a bounty hunter, topic, question, answer, answered some question or submit his job. So this behavior will also stored on blockchain. So one block, second block, and then after the collaboration finished, people can give remarks to each other, and some rules can be built based on these behaviors and remarks. So their reputation may grow or reduce. Yeah. So this is collaboration and credit building or reputation building. Next, we will talk about how to do credit building. Yeah. Here we said there will be some behaviors stored on chain. Actually, each behavior maybe is a good behavior or a bad behavior. Good behavior should have a positive effect on his score. So if you have many good behaviors, so your behavior score will grow. General score is nearly same with behavior score. We just normalize the behavior score to a value between 0 and 100. Feature score is interesting since different behaviors have different features, right? So we can classify behaviors into different categories and build different kinds of reputation or credit based on different behaviors. So this is feature score. Finally, we will build a collaboration network, a trusted collaboration network. So a user may be a node in this collaboration network. A product may be another node. So a product release some jobs and collaborate with one user, and their behaviors will stored on the blockchains, and the blockchain's behaviors in return verify the profile items in this collaboration network. The profile in return gives some reference to the collaboration itself. So this is how the collaboration and the credit building works. Okay, thank you. Follow.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Jan. Yeah, this was quite well explained about what OpenSquare is doing. So we have a couple of questions for you. Firstly, being, what were your challenges in your entire journey, or what was the toughest part for you as you built this?
Till now, my first challenge is how to gain the trust from products. Yeah. So my solution is do the common goods, provide service to these products. For example, we develop the DotFriday and the CScan with the support from the treasurer. So the official and the other products can see our work. Yeah, can know our ability, can know our orientation, job orientation. So yeah, and I think it's good. Yeah, our delivery is how to say, is not bad. Yeah. So this is the first challenge. The next challenge is that's the most big challenge, I think, is how to get the trust from normal users. How normal users can trust me, for example, to help solve the project's problem, which I got from the products. Yeah.
Correct.
So this is
okay, great. Yeah, that makes sense. The next question, Yang, is so basically DAOs rely heavily on community participation or community growth. So what exactly was your journey in the community building part of it?
Yeah, currently community building is what we are not good at. Yeah. So our community is very weak. You can or there's few members in our we have few Twitter followers. There are few members in our Telegram groups. Yes, because our main work is developing. So we currently have no enough time to attract normal users to how to say to grow our community. But to build a DAO, I think this is not so necessary as the first step. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Great. Great. That makes sense.
I haven't finished. Yeah. Okay. So to make a DAO, we have to do is to design a very reasonable mechanism to make the whole product work. Yeah. For example, in our paid QA product, some DAO rules can be designed to decide how to promote user levels like that. The first step, I think, is I will invite some ecosystem activity active members to join the management DAO. Yeah, the DAO for management to, for example, promote user levels. So the promoted users can promote others. Yeah. So this can work like this. Yeah.
Thanks, Yongfeng. So this spoke a lot about the complexities one can expect while building a DAO, and we hope to stay connected with you. Do join us for the open mic discussion now with Bernie as well. It's going to be fun. And guys, if any of you have any further question for Yongfeng, do get in touch with us and we'll get them resolved by him too. Right. And yeah, thanks Yongfeng. Yeah, we'll move on with the evening and we'll go for our final question, the final quiz for you guys tonight. And again, to answer, follow us on Twitter if you haven't already. Post your answer, tagging us at Polkadot India, and the top 3 answers will get our unique gift box. So here goes the final question, and this is a kind of long one. DAOs tackle an age-old problem of governance, which political scientists and economists refer to as the principal agent dilemma. This occurs when the agent of an organization has the power to make decisions on behalf of or impacting the principal, another person, or in the entity organization. What is the role of a DAO in this context? A, address the principal agent dilemma with collaboration and acceptance of actions within agreed rules. B, embed regulated online smart contracts with the current judicial system using public blockchains. C, offer complex online smart contracts without any link to tangible and intangible offline assets. Or D, provide a private blockchain contract platform on which users can run their online applications. I'd request one of the moderators if you can just post this question out in the chat box too, for people who can refer to it. And guys, send in your answers on Twitter, tag us, and all the best. Hope you win this. So moving on, we come to a very exciting part of the evening. Hope you have also not forgotten about our day-long contest of memes. Make a meme about you being over here today and send it to us on Twitter by 3 p.m. tomorrow. And now I'll let Bernie take the floor again. We shall release your audio and video. So let's maintain decorum and raise a hand to speak, or simply put in your questions or views in the chat box too. And Bernie will be glad to interact with you for sure. So Bernie, let's have you over with us again.
Here I am.
Yeah.
So Ananya, I think I'd love to touch or at least say something else on top of the community question that you made. So yes, nowadays most DAOs, they live out of their communities. So being able to grow a community into something actually big and having reach is a big concern for most DAOs, okay? And a good way to do it is by having a couple of people who are content creators themselves on your DAO, okay? People just like me who love Web3, are builders, are making their own stuff, are documenting their journey on Twitter or any other platform. And perhaps they will join, they may join, and if they join, at least you will have already reached the distribution platform, as we used to call. So yeah, growing your Twitter, growing your audience, growing a community is a very, very, very important first step if you want to launch anything Web3 related over the course of a couple of months, because without the reach and without the distribution, you can't sell anything, you can't hire anyone, and you can't have people signing up for what you are doing. So just my 2 cents on that topic.
Okay, great. Amit, let's also have you in this conversation, and let's get the community talking with the two of you leading this. I think Harsh has a question over here. So he says, Bernie, have you been following new projects like Olympus DAO? If yes, how sustainable do you think they are in the long term?
Okay, I don't want to talk about Olympus DAO in particular, because I don't want to say anything that may make people trust or distrust in that particular project. Okay, and yes, I know Olympus DAO, I quite like it. Okay, but okay, so regarding sustainability, long-term sustainability, let's tackle that. I think that there are a couple of projects trying to promise a lot. Okay, and unfortunately, you will see a bunch of them in the NFT ecosystem, a lot of people, teams who have no ability of executing the type of things that they want to do. But there are a lot of projects also very good who are able to raise capital, who are able to join a good core team, and who are willing to execute on the vision. Okay, so every time you start looking into a project, the first thing I would tell you, no matter if it is an NFT project or a DAO, because not every NFT project becomes a DAO, what I would tell you always is try to find the people who are behind that project, that DAO or NFT. Or even DApp. It doesn't have to be a DAO. It can be just a DApp, and the DApp doesn't have to have a DAO. Okay, not everything will be about DAOs or DAOism, let's say. So we will have a bunch of different use cases according to our needs. And sometimes we need to form a DAO, sometimes we don't. And the first thing is try to evaluate the team. Who is the people behind the project? Are they executing consistently? So the first question is evaluate their consistency, because consistency is the best predictor of success. If you are relentless, if you execute consistently, no matter if it takes you 10 years or 1 year, you will keep working on that. So consistency is the first thing that I always look in every type of project or team. The second one is their past experience. Okay, are these people coming from the industry? They are trying to do something. Okay, are they completely new to this industry? Do they have some leverage? Do they have any edge in terms of what they are trying to do? Okay, so that's another way on how I look and how I evaluate DAOs to start working with them, or NFTs if I want to buy an NFT project or an NFT from any project. After is, are these people grounded? Are these people reasonable? Okay, because it's easy to dream. It's easy to wanting to build an Olympus in the sky, but how easy or how reasonable is the type of vision and dream that they have? Okay. But hey, most of these questions and most of the frameworks for you to join and evaluate both an NFT project or a DAO is almost like search and look into the startup types of frameworks, like how investors invest in the best startups. Okay, most of the times the teams, they should already meet each other. They should know each other. I always prefer to see NFT projects and DAOs where some of the core team members, they knew already each other before starting the DAO, and also try to understand if they are trying to solve a certain problem, a certain use case, or if they are just building something, for example, due to their art, or because it's fun, or because it is nice, So I don't want to talk about Olympus DAO in particular. I truly believe in what they are doing. On the long term, anytime you want to evaluate a DAO or an NFT project or any other project, look for these kind of predictors. Okay, so consistency, team, if they are reasonable or not, how much capital have they been able to raise, from who, so a bunch of different things. Okay.
Right. Okay, great. Our next question is by Bhavesh. Bhavesh, would you like to unmute yourself? Maybe come on video too and ask yourself to Bernie. Else I can always read it.
Yeah,
Great.
like so Solana blockchain is built with with a proof of stake consensus, with a proof of history consensus. But is it possible to build the blockchain only on proof of history consensus? That I want to ask. And what's the problem behind proof of history consensus?
Okay, you are talking about consensus mechanisms, Solana and proof of stake, right?
Yes, right.
Okay. I'm just taking some notes. Sorry. Okay, so a bit of context about consensus mechanisms, just for those who perhaps don't know it already. So consensus mechanisms is how you insert and validate how nodes, who are the people who maintain the blockchain active, how they validate each block, so each block can be inserted, okay, written on top of the blockchain. So these nodes, these people, they have to go through different ways of making sure that that block of information is one, right, valid, has all the previous transactions, and all the previous transactions are valid, they are correct, they are not misguiding anyone, and also that the current transactions they are adding to this block, they are valid, correct, once again. Okay, regarding consensus mechanisms, we have mostly nowadays, there are already some people using other stuff, but we have nowadays at least two types of consensus mechanisms. Okay, so we have proof of work, which is the one that is used the most, and the one that we know from Bitcoin, Ethereum, both still use the proof of work. And proof of work is the nodes connected to the blockchain. They have to solve certain math puzzles, and the first to solve that math puzzle is rewarded with Bitcoin or Ethereum, okay, and can register the transaction of that block. Then we have the proof of stake, and then we have other types of consensus mechanisms, like, for example, Solana also uses one thing that is not necessarily a consensus mechanism, which is the proof of history. Okay, and why? Because Solana can register the transactions at the millisecond type of information. Okay, which means that they can try to validate every transaction by comparing the last millisecond that we have something about the transaction happening and going forward or moving backwards. Okay, so they use both proof of history, which is not necessarily a consensus mechanism, is like a surplus, okay, like a security framework. Let's call it that way. And regarding proof of stake is basically these nodes, so the validators, as they are called, they stake some coin, so in this case some SOL, which is the Solana token, that they will be able to solve or to validate that specific block. Okay, and if they are not able to do it, they will lose all the tokens. Okay, which is very different from proof of work, where you don't lose, you are just rewarded or not rewarded. Okay, so regarding the Solana proof of stake, yes, you can build new blockchains based on proof of stake, obviously. Okay, that's a consensus mechanism that most people start to look more into. Okay, even Ethereum, for those who have no idea, Ethereum intends to move their chain from proof of work to proof of stake. Okay, that's something that is already on their own roadmap, is to become a proof of stake type of chain. Okay, and for those who have no idea on why is because proof of work demands a lot of energy. Anytime you read the news or anytime you see media writing about Bitcoin demands a lot of energy, this isn't sustainable, this is hurting the planet. Yes, that's true, because that means that we have to maintain the Bitcoin blockchain, we have to have a bunch of people around the world constantly mining. Okay, so the miners are the people solving the math puzzles, and those people, they have to be constantly online solving different puzzles or applying for new puzzles to solve and all of that. Okay, so going with proof of stake basically removes the need of having processing power, CPUs, solving math puzzles. Okay, instead is more a stake, like a betting type of way of solving and validating a certain block. Okay, Amit, I don't know if you want to expand here, perhaps in terms of Polkadot technicalities, and I don't know.
I don't understand proof of history well enough to be able to comment on it, honestly.
Okay. So, but yes.
You've alluded to Solana white paper. They are the guys who've pioneered it, and they've done it fairly well. I'd totally recommend a thorough read of the Solana white paper.
Yeah.
To dig deeper into proof of history. You need to implement a bunch of other tech if you're building a proof of history based blockchain. Could I just understand what's your use case over here? Bhavesh, what are you trying to do?
Sir, I want to ask that current TPS of Polkadot is 166 transactions per second. So it should be increased because in future more and more people will come in Polkadot ecosystem because it's very advanced as compared to others. So what it is doing to increase this TPS, because we need more TPS. So that's why.
And I totally get that, and definitely there are interesting things at play. Generally in blockchains, high TPS comes at the cost of security. The more decentralized the system, the more the number of nodes that are achieving consensus, the greater the security. However, it also ends up, becoming all the more time consuming. Proof of history definitely is a fantastic innovation, but honestly, I'm not the right guy to be able to comment on it. I'm also not sure if proof of history is, a reliable consensus mechanism. But that definitely has piqued my curiosity and interest now that you've asked it. I would attempt to read over it over the weekend. And if you're part of the Discord groups, I'd share an update from my side on it.
I think I'm on mute. So we'll move on to the next one. What are your thoughts on governance mining? This is Kevin asking what your thoughts on governance.
Okay, so very overall, once again, anytime we are talking about governance, governance is just the discipline of making humans work together according to certain types of ways of doing things. Okay, so once again, being the fact that I don't know in precise the type of the use case for that question, what I can tell you is that once again, in that way, perhaps assuming that you are trying to come up with a certain way of governance in terms of who should mine when and what, once again, that means that you have to come up with certain rules to create the game on how people can apply to become miners or to mine, let's assume. And then according to those rules that you create, which are the governance type of rules, you will have to establish, okay, so who are the people who are able to mine in a certain condition according to the certain rules that the DAO has created. Okay, so not being able to know much more detail about that question, this is like a broad answer, a very overall answer, because any governance issue is really a human issue in terms of communication, how to work, how to whatever. So yeah.
Sure. In fact, I didn't know of governance mining prior to this question being asked. I quickly Googled it. I could not still understand what governance mining means. As essentially, it doesn't seem to be a popular term in crypto land yet for there to be a dedicated article on it. So I'll just have to guess what Kevin was trying to possibly. And given most likely it's a deep question, but in case, I'll have to probably just simplify it to an extent that I can make sense of the question. If you're there, please do elaborate on it. But I would want to highlight about over here, the governance tokens, how they were issued in Compound, and what happened thereafter. And so oftentimes, organizations like DAOs would end up creating a separate token for governance. Now you have a proportional voting right on all governance decisions on that protocol, on that DAO's decisions, corresponding to the amount of governance token that you hold. Usually, the native token of your blockchain serves as the governance token as well. But sometimes, certain protocols have created a new governance, a new token altogether. So the DeFi wave of 2020 was to a great extent amplified due to Compound, which is a very popular lending protocol, a DeFi protocol, which introduced its governance token. So they minted a whole chunk of governance tokens. I'm not sure about the exact number. And they said that everybody who holds, who's currently borrowing and who's currently lending, they gave their proportional share of these new governance tokens to these people to incentivize both parties to participate more in borrowing and sharing. Now, because this governance token itself was in limited supply, the demand for these governance tokens grew, which I hope could be what people consider as governance mining. In fact, it became such a ridiculous situation that people so wanted to buy this comp governance token that you would earn more from borrowing money in the form of the governance token that you end up, accumulating, which gets distributed to you pro rata. Then you would pay as the interest of the loan that you have taken. So you borrow money and you earn more than what you are paying back as interest. So situations like this could be very, very interesting. There's nothing illegit or illegal about them. And these are things that happen when innovative instruments like DeFi get created. And possibly, if this is what governance mining meant, I just wanted to share, what happened back around then. And of course, things normalized after that. But for a good time, this was just like an insane opportunity available.
Okay, great. So the next one, Mridul, are you around? Can you come on board and ask us your question?
Sure, I'll just, am I audible? Sorry.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. So recently I found out about squads.io. It's like a DAO generator on Solana, which combines treasury, on-chain, voting, and chat and all to just help people vote and make an interface which is very accessible and easy to go for. So I want to know if you've explored that. If not, what are your thoughts on a product like this to be built on Polkadot, and what do you see of a product like this in future? Will it be like very good to have it in a system or any chain? What are your thoughts? Just want to explore.
And Yongfeng has built like a whole suite of these kind of products for the Polkadot ecosystem specifically. So, Yongfeng, you want to take the mic and talk about it, perhaps?
Great.
Perfect.
Okay, Mridul, so I think we'll have to come back to you with that one. So no worries, we'll definitely get back to you. Harsh, are you around? Harsh Bajpai?
Yeah, I'm around. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, hi.
Yeah, so my question was that basically, like most of the DAOs that we see are generally being launched on EVM compatible chains and also on some other chains like Solana. But till this far, like because Bitcoin was very slow, like only 7 transactions per second, it was not possible to do much on it. But now we have layer 2 solutions like the Lightning Network, and now people are considering that might be we can build dApps on some, like other layer 2 or layer 3 on top of Bitcoin, right? Now we have this this Bitcoin maximalism going around where people believe that Bitcoin is going to be the most valuable store where you could just put all your fiat, and it's going to be a store where you can put everything. So my question is that do you think that there could be any advantage of doing DAOs on some layer 2 or layer 3 that use Bitcoin on the layer 2 or layer 3, just like the Lightning Network?
Go for it, Bunny. I definitely feel, in my opinion, that layer 3s are going to come because there's a bunch of innovation that you can do on top of the Lightning Network. So, do I believe that Bitcoin is going to be that one chain that will rule them all? No, I don't believe in it. The reason being, Bitcoin wasn't designed prima facie to be like a generic solution. It was designed to primarily serve as a currency. Of course, now it is being utilized more as an asset, and my fundamental reservation, even though Lightning Network comes, majority of the people of the world are probably going to want to hold on to their Bitcoin. Even though they can transact with Bitcoin, I feel that they might just want to, keep holding it because it's just a asset whose value will likely keep on increasing. So I would not want to, use my Bitcoin to transact, even if very cheap and very fast transactions are now possible. But on top of Lightning, can you create fantastic layer 3s, which can replicate, you could build a smart contract platform, build a lot of innovative products and protocols? Yes. Again, centralized tech giants and, a lot of, big players are coming and supporting the Lightning Network and layer 3 innovation. So we will have to come and watch. These guys are very influential too. I'm not overall sold on that philosophy or direction. There will need to be fantastic innovation for me to want to change my mind.
Okay, great. Yam, would you like to add something to that?
I think DAO is not related to a layer 1 or layer 2. The difference is just layer 2 is the gas fee is cheap. Yeah. Yeah. So the DAO, the DAO, in my opinion, is a broad topic. Yes. So we should decide what DAO is for. Yeah. DAO is not just for manage money. Yeah. DAO should have a target. For example, in Polkadot, we can manage to decide whether or not to upgrade the runtime. So this is a kind of DAO. This DAO will be all this decision will be decided by the democracy, by all the token holders. But another thing, like the on-chain treasurer, this is different. Treasurer currently in Polkadot, it can be decided by the council members. Yeah. Currently in Kusama, there are maybe 19 total in 19 members. You have to got 12 votes to get a fund. So this is another kind of DAO. Mm-hmm. So different scenarios may have different kinds of DAOs. So yeah, DAO is a broad topic. It decides on what you want to manage. Yeah. So in my product, for example, the paid question, we have to decide how to promote one user, how to decide one user have more knowledge and have more how to, I don't know. So we should decide give this user a higher level. Yeah. So this user can vote another to make other people promote. Yeah. So this is another kind of DAOs. Yeah. So different scenarios may have different kinds of DAOs. Yeah. So I think it's not so close related with the layer 1 or layer 2 or even layer 0. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Bernie, for joining in. This has been absolutely great, and we hope to have so many more conversations with you. And and whatever questions the community has further, we definitely pass them on to you at some point. Guys, follow Bernie. He's amazing. Follow him at Hey Bernie on Twitter, and you'll definitely learn something every single day with him, right?
Yeah, thank you, Ananya. Thank you, Amit. Thank you, everybody. And for all of you who may want to ask me anything else, feel free to just DM me. Okay, so DM me on Twitter. I try to go through every DM that I got. Not necessarily easy sometimes, but I try. So feel free to DM me. Okay, we are all learning, and the best thing I can tell you all is that this can be a great year for all of us. Okay, so wishing you the best and have a great evening. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Bye-bye, and thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bernie.
Great.
We need time, so we need to actually end the conversation. Didn't realize time just flew by. And we were able to fill in for one speaker who could not be with us as well today.
Firstly, thank you so much, Yongfeng, again for joining us. This has been superb, and your inputs also have been really great throughout, including the last bit of it. So thank you so much, Yongfeng. We'll definitely stay in touch. Right?
Thank you, madam.
Thanks. Guys, a couple of things. Firstly, we have a pinned tweet about tomorrow's Substrate Saturday bootcamp. Something that we just came up with because everyone's pretty interactive out here tonight. So what you can do is just put in your own OG quote with our pinned post about tomorrow's Substrate Saturday. And the best quote can get up to 3 dots airdropped right away. And we'll announce it by tomorrow again. So yeah, so again, what you have to do is take our pinned post about Substrate Saturday and just retweet about it with your own original quote, right? With that, guys, we come to a close to today's DotFriday, and we are very excited to bring you our next DotFriday, and that's about a gaming chapter, right? So join us on the 18th of February. That's going to be pretty exciting as well. And for our developer buddies, do not miss out on Bootcamp 2 tomorrow. And we'll also be announcing the winners of the top 3 DotFriday memes. They are hilarious and they are still coming in good numbers. So thank you. That's $50 worth of dot to be won. And yeah, a reminder again for the 3 most unique tweets saying that you are at Polkadot India's DotFriday. And yeah, happy tweeting for some surprising rewards. You guys have been fantastic. Stay connected with us via all the links that have been shared throughout the evening and stay inspired. We'll see you tomorrow at tomorrow's bootcamp. Yeah.